and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Rupert Pleasant and I'm the Chief Executive of Guernsey Finance. A very warm welcome to you all on this opening session of the International Trust and Private Client Forum Guernsey. You have a packed agenda today with a large number of leading speakers dealing with some fascinating and fundamental topics. My presentation this morning is entitled Guernsey, Our Place in the World, Post-COVID and Beyond. The presentation will be in two parts. Firstly, dealing with the role that Guernsey has within the global business and financial community. And the second part will deal with our post-COVID strategic pivot, focused on the Guernsey Family Office and Guernsey's true substance in sustainable finance. Firstly, a very quick apology. Due to circumstances beyond my control, I can't join you on the live webinar today, and so I've needed to record this piece before the event. If you do, however, have any questions or queries, I'll be delighted to reply to them when I'm back in the office, and my email address will be on the end of this presentation. As I know that we're being watched by an international audience today, and for those of you not familiar with the island, I thought I should begin with a short history on Guernsey, which should hopefully provide you with a useful background as to how our rich history has shaped our present political and judicial status. The intricate evolution of Guernsey's constitution creates an intriguing picture. Islanders pledge their allegiance to the Crown, but not to the British government, where we have no representation. So we cannot be called for military service outside the islands, except to rescue the sovereign if captured by enemies, or to conquer England again. However, brave islanders have elected to serve their Queen in 2 world wars and fought with courage and conviction. Guernsey is in the Commonwealth, but is self-governed with its own traditions, taxation, laws, money, Norman French language, sadly rarely heard today, and its own character. Despite their rich Norman heritage, islanders are proud to fly the United flag, if only to remind us that England, since 1066, is one of our oldest possessions. The history of this relationship does date back to 1066, when William, the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy, defeated King Harold and seized the English crown and the Duchy of Normandy, and England became one. The significant link with the English crown was established in 1204, when King John lost Normandy to King Philip Augustus of France. Islanders were, at that stage, faced with a choice: to maintain allegiance to the continent or to side with the English crown. They chose the latter, one of the most significant decisions in the island's history. To cultivate this loyalty, King John granted the islands certain rights and privileges that they'd enjoyed under Normandy. A few decades later, Henry III granted the Channel Islands to his son, the future Edward I, on condition that they should never be separated from the English crown. And so the legitimate King of England came to be legally recognised as the ruler of Guernsey, confirmed by the Treaty of Paris in 1259. So, after a brief history lesson, that's how we got here. Moving to today, our relationship with the United Kingdom doesn't change after Brexit is completed, and neither does our relationship with the EU. We've never been a member of the EU, but have consistently helped and held third-party status. We don't contribute to EU funds, and neither do we receive anything directly from Europe. Our relationship with the Union was defined by Protocol 3 to the UK's Act of Accession to the European Economic Community in 1972. Under this arrangement, we are part of the EU Customs Union, and we're able to trade in goods and agricultural products as if we were part of the EU, without tariffs and quotas. So, effectively, we are within the EU for most of the free movement of goods, but outside for other purposes, particularly non-customs related fiscal matters and the free movement of persons and services. As a third country, and given our close trading relationship with the UK and EU member states, we voluntarily adopt some appropriate EU legislation and apply relevant international standards. Guernsey is not part of the single market in financial services and has negotiated limited market access as a third country on a case-by-case basis by being assessed as applying equivalent standards to those in the EU. It should also be noted that the Channel Islands Brussels office promotes the interests of the Channel Islands in Europe. So, shortly, we'll be adopting a new trading relationship as part of the EU's membership of the World Trade Organization, and this will be extended to Guernsey in the next few weeks once the UK finally leaves the EU. Our relationship with the EU has allowed free and frictionless flow of goods through the customs union for nearly 50 years. But those arrangements cease once Brexit is implemented, and last year Guernsey decided to formally request the UK to extend the territorial scope of its WTO membership. This move plays a key role in the future of our international trade and gives the bailiwick and its companies access to global rules on the trade in goods, services, IP with other WTO members, including the EU member states. Turning to the OECD, Guernsey has had a formal relationship with the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development, the leading international standard setter for tax transparency and cooperation, for 30 years. The OECD Convention therefore applies to Guernsey, and its decisions and its recommendations and agreements apply to us as they do to the UK. In 2002, the states of Guernsey made a general political commitment to the OECD in relation to improvement of transparency in tax systems, and we have a number of OECD treaties extended to us. It's all part of our commitment to being a good global citizen. In the past few years, the OECD has backed Guernsey as a fully cooperative jurisdiction for transparency and exchange of information. On tackling tax evasion and on economic substance and BEPS, there'll be more later on that. Guernsey is a global finance centre with 50 years experience, providing specialist solutions to sophisticated clients, facilitating international capital flows and trade. We've developed positions of leadership in niche financial services through excellence and innovation. The depth and breadth of expertise present in the island naturally creates an economically substantial financial services sector. Guernsey is stable, secure, and a self-governing jurisdiction, constitutionally autonomous from the UK and a respected, responsible global citizen, meeting international standard on tax transparency and regulation. Last month, our government published a report which outlined how Guernsey funds facilitate investment into Britain and Europe, and also where investors from those countries support investment elsewhere in the world. The report also highlighted the developing relationship we have with the US as a conduit for investors from Europe, from the US, and into the US from European investors. Guernsey sits at the crossroads of global capital flows and are well poised to serve as tax-neutral, efficient conduits to them. Tax neutrality means that the intermediary vehicles through which investments are made and held are not subject to local taxation. Tax remains payable by the investors and the vehicle's investments at the rates applicable in their home jurisdiction. This means tax is paid just once, with no tax leakage along the way. So just briefly, how do we in Guernsey see ourselves in investment funds? Guernsey is a genuine alternative to Luxembourg, and for any number of reasons is more competitively positioned today than Cayman, a default centre for so many jurisdictions and managers. Our funds regime is simple and flexible, and we've an enviable track record for innovation. As a global funds leader, we have over 400 billion assets under management administered in the island. In terms of access, we say Guernsey reaches the parts that managers want to reach. Our global distribution reach takes in more than 80% of the world's wealth. Our access to the UK doesn't change as a result of Brexit, and we are in the number one leader in London Stock Exchange listings with more than 100 listings, the highest number of any overseas jurisdiction. Access to the EU doesn't change after Brexit either. We offer certainty that the UK just can't present. We are the specialist leader in the European private equity market. The European National Private Placement regime gives proven, smarter and faster reach to the parts of the EU market that managers want to meet. Our relationship with the US continues to grow. We have the highest number of funds sold into the USA under Regulation D private placement relative to other well-regulated international funds and jurisdictions. And just for a little bit, I'd like to talk to you about economic substance. Substance has become something of a buzzword in financial services over the last few years. It's required some new legislation in the island, but Guernsey has undoubtedly emerged stronger and more competitively positioned as a result of this process. We are a leading centre of substance. Guernsey has breadth and depth of experienced professionals, including in investment management, tax and legal services. Guernsey is a centre of real substance, meeting international standards. In 2019, Guernsey was whitelisted by the EU review process. The island was also whitelisted for tax transparency by the OECD in 2009. Guernsey is compliant or largely compliant with 48 of the 49 Financial Action Task Force recommendations on anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism. In addition, Guernsey was an early adopter of the Common Reporting Standard, CRS, and the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, FATCA. This is all part of being recognised as a responsible and well-respected global citizen with a proven track record of international engagement and the application of international standards. We're a modern global finance centre with a responsive and responsible international recognised regulatory regime. Guernsey has a long track record of satisfying international regulatory and transparency standards, and today continues to be a leader in its field. In 2017, Guernsey introduced a central register of beneficial ownership of legal persons incorporated or created in the island, which exceeds the standards of most international jurisdictions. And in Guernsey, the application of international standards serves commercial as well as compliance purposes. For example, the Guernsey Green Fund was developed to align with internationally recognised green criteria, and more on this a little bit later. So now to the second part of my presentation, a strategic pivot post-COVID. To maintain our reputation as a leading global finance centre for private wealth, we've been working with the Guernsey Association of Trustees to ensure that our strategy for 2021 and beyond remains both competitive and focused. We've put in place a post-COVID strategic pivot which will form the core of our strategy for private wealth for the next 5 years. To this end, we will develop our family office services, offering to broaden our appeal to the private wealth community. We'll hone and develop both legislation and regulation to ensure that we provide a supportive environment for efficiently servicing private capital and private wealth. We will exploit our jurisdictional resilience and business continuity, as has been demonstrated and proven during the COVID pandemic. It's been business as usual for the financial services industry in Guernsey since June this year. And even before that, during local lockdown, in the words of a senior insurance provider based in Switzerland, Guernsey never missed a beat. We are looking to leverage our position as a world leader in green and sustainable finance and to maintain and enhance our global reputation in this area, especially in private wealth services. We're a jurisdiction committed to true substance in sustainability. We have no time for those who see sustainability as mere greenwashing. We're looking to maintain our focus on the United Kingdom. We can assist the UK in its transition during Brexit and help maintain capital flows both into and out of Europe and the rest of the world. We are complementary to the United Kingdom and its financial services industry. We are not a competitor. We're looking to maintain our focus on Hong Kong. We've recently bolstered our presence. And finally, we're looking to increase our focus on additional core target markets of the US, the Middle East and South Africa. We clearly need to diversify our target markets and look to those jurisdictions that can most benefit from the stability and security that Guernsey can offer. So, I'd like to focus on two of the above strategic pivots, being family office and green finance. Starting with family office, Guernsey provides an ideal environment for the discreet provision of specialist family offices. Following a survey carried out by Guernsey Finance in 2019, we identified a number of key trends in family offices services. Growing complexity. Family offices, trustees and professional advisors unanimously confirm that family office requirements have grown in complexity in recent years. The increase in complexity can have internal and external drivers. Internal drivers include the professional and family needs of the founder and their family, which is likely to grow as time goes by. External drivers include the political and economic, legal and regulatory environment in which the family office operates. The degree to which each family office is exposed to these drivers is down to its individual circumstances, which creates complexity for trustees and professional advisors, and to the family offices themselves, the majority of which do not consider the management of their affairs as easy. Global clients. All family offices, trustees and professional advisors consider their affairs as multi-jurisdictional. The multi-jurisdictional nature of a family office can be due to the location of the physical and legal structures that make up the family office, being separate to that of the family themselves, and from the disparate nature of the family members it serves or the investments it manages. And globalisation. Nearly all family offices, trustees and professional advisors see globalisation as having a significant impact on family offices. While an element of globalisation is the disparate families and international diversification of their investments, the other is the corresponding increase in international standards that govern a globalised world. Most relevant to family offices are the global standards on tax transparency, which challenge the natural desire for privacy in family matters and the encroachment of regulation where few prudential or conduct risks exist. So what's important to families when deciding on a jurisdiction of choice for their family office? Quite fundamental is the supportive environment that can be offered. In-house services. High net worth individuals are increasingly choosing to in-house service such as corporate and family governance, investment and risk management, and estate planning to a family office. Being centralised and cost effective. A family office is a centralised and cost-effective hub within which the financial and other affairs of families are managed. Discrete specialist support. Family offices' need for discretion and their diversity makes their needs difficult to define, but Guernsey's depth and breadth of experience ensures that they can be catered for. So, what are the core drivers of jurisdictional choice, and why should family offices be drawn to Guernsey as a centre of excellence? Reputation. Reputation is key. Family offices and their advisors consider the reputation of the jurisdiction to be an important criteria when considering where to establish a family office. In the words of one advisor, the jurisdiction defines the opportunity set of the family office. By establishing one's family office in a jurisdiction with a proven track record of international engagement and the application of international standards, one gains access to the widest range of opportunities. Guernsey has an excellent international reputation and is at the forefront of issues such as anti-money laundering legislation and regulation, where we have the highest rating through global institutions such as Moneyval and FATF. Safety and stability. Family offices and their advisors are unanimous in their high regard for the importance of safety and stability in jurisdictional choice. Indicators of safety and security include high levels of social cohesion, while indicators of stability include constitutional autonomy, political and economic stability, and an independent judiciary. Guernsey has been an independent jurisdiction for over 800 years and provides family offices with stability, safety and security. Services. Establishing and operating a family office that successfully suits the vision, values and purposes of a family is a specialist service provided to a sophisticated global client base. Reflecting this, family offices and their advisors were unanimous in considering an increase in the professionalism of the sector and the knowledge, skills and behaviour of its participants to be important. Guernsey is home to world-class professionals who can service the many types of family offices with their specific needs and demands. And finally, substance. The vast majority of family offices and their advisors agree that substance, that is, a reason for choosing a jurisdiction other and more important than tax neutrality, is becoming increasingly important in choosing a jurisdiction. The general consensus is that substance is of much greater significance than even 5 years ago. I've already mentioned Guernsey's commitment to substance, being on both the OECD and EU whitelist and with robust substance legislation in place. Our strategic pivot, therefore, is for Guernsey to grow and enhance a supportive global environment for the provision of specialist single and multi-family offices. Our business-friendly environment, including regulatory responsiveness and flexibility, provides the ideal platform for the establishment and operation of family offices in Guernsey. Moving to our second strategic pivot is green finance. However, it should be noted that the family office and green are certainly not mutually exclusive. Research carried out with some 20 family offices and high net worth individuals, with a combined estimated worth of £25 billion, and 50 service providers, showed more focus is needed in engagement with investment managers and investors on the aims of green and sustainable finance and the benefits of responsible investing. So our 2 points of focus here are becoming fully entwined. The Sustainable Development Goals, a collection of 17 global goals set by the United Nations, are mankind's most ambitious effort to date to secure its future on Earth. The International Panel on Climate Change estimates that around $2.4 trillion, or roughly 2.5% of global GDP annually, needs to be invested in the energy system between now and 2035 to meet the 1.5 degree target. It's therefore important for financial centres such as Guernsey to adapt to the increasing demand for green investments. As a responsible global citizen, it's Guernsey's intention to contribute its expertise and experience as a global finance centre to the fulfilment of these goals through the work of Guernsey Green Finance, our dedicated initiative to green and sustainable finance. And COVID has certainly put this at the forefront of many people's minds. So where are we with this? So with regard to international engagement, the G7 nations requested that the UN Environment develop an initiative to further mobilise financial centres in support of green and sustainable finance. The United Nations Financial Centres for Sustainability was established in May 2017, and Guernsey became a member in mid-2018. The Guernsey Financial Services Commission is a member of the Network for Greening the Financial System, a group of central banks and supervisors who are looking to mobilise mainstream finance to support the transition towards a sustainable economy. Guernsey is also a member of the United Nations Sustainable Insurance Forum, a network of insurance supervisors and regulators from around the world who are working together on sustainable challenges facing the insurance sector. Guernsey is also home to a number of world-leading green products and services. In 2018, Guernsey created the world's first regulated green fund, the Guernsey Green Fund. The regulatory wrapper provides clear green criteria, imbuing investments with credibility and investors with confidence. Though Guernsey is free to select its own criteria, being independent from the EU and UK legislation, the GFSC modelled the Green Fund principles on the Common Principles for Climate Mitigation Finance Tracking, thereby complying with international standards. The International Stock Exchange, headquartered in Guernsey, has established a Green Index, which is a market segment promoting those investments which make a positive impact on the environment. It enables those seeking investments into environmentally beneficial initiatives to highlight their green credentials, while, at the same time, providing easier access for investors who are looking to allocate towards those investments which have been verified as meeting globally recognised standards in green finance. We're also working on ESG and sustainable framework for ILS and captive insurance, hopefully launching towards the end of this year. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with 5 key and core messages. Guernsey is a leading specialist global finance centre. Our constitutional autonomy and political and economic stability combine to create a strong and stable platform. We provide specialist financial services for a sophisticated global client base. Guernsey's leadership and success is based on innovation, a supportive and responsive government, and proportionate regulatory regime. And our diversity, breadth and depth of expertise naturally creates a specialist global finance centre with economic substance. Thank you very much for your kind attention today. Please feel free to get in touch with me if you'd like to speak more about Guernsey and our offerings. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can email me at rupert@weareguernsey.com. I'm sure the rest of the day will be a great success. And so now I hand you back to the conference team at International Trust and Private Client Guernsey. Have an enjoyable day. Thank you.